Hi Kishore. We'll get started.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Okay. This is Kishore from SV TechSup. Thanks for joining today's Velocity demo session. Okay. Our trainer will be taking care for today's demonstration. Okay. We are planning to start regular batch in next 1 or 2 days. I will keep post you guys. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Right. Good evening, everyone. So myself, Yashwant, and I'll be taking care of the training for Velocity going forward. Right. Yeah, I think Vasu has been pinging that he has to leave a little early, so he has few questions, but let's quickly discuss them. Whatever is relevant right now. Right. First question from him is regarding the certifications. I hope I'm audible to everyone, right?
Yes, Vishnu.
Yeah, yeah. Right. So first question is regarding the certifications. Yeah, there are quite a few certifications. Now Salesforce has acquired Velocity in 2020, so you will find them under WebAssessor itself. So whatever certifications you will find for Salesforce in the same site, you will find Velocity related as well. So the basic one which everybody expects, like how for Salesforce developer, admin, and PD1 are required. There is one certification called uh, Studio Developer. So that is the first priority. After that, everything else that is there in Velocity is going to be advanced one. So that is not the expectation from any client, any company as of now. The basic one is Studio Developer. Rest all are like Studio Consultant or Order Management Consultant, something like that. So they all need expertise. So yeah, basic one is Studio Developer. And second question is, are the daily recordings shared? Is there any option to finish the course sooner? Yes, we will be sharing the daily recordings as soon as we complete the meeting. It takes around 20 minutes to get for Zoom to convert it, and we'll be uploading it within 1 hour. So that's the thing. And yeah, it will take definitely more than 35 days because we will be having sessions on weekdays. So that means 5 days, 1 hour each. It can go up to 1 hour, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on the topic. Yep, it will be around 7 weeks in total. So, yep. Yeah, but anyway, in the first 15 sessions are the ones which you need for maybe writing your first certification. First 15, 20 sessions are enough. After that, everything is going to be a little advanced, right? And the next question is, yes, do we get a free developer sandbox for Salesforce practicing? Yes, for Salesforce, you can get it, but for Velocity, that's a closed one. So you'll not be able to get it. So, but yeah, as part of the training, we'll be providing one developers velocity development org, which is going to be related to CMT. We'll talk about what exactly is CMT, just to make sure, cover all the questions posted by Vasu, because he might be leaving quickly. Yeah, to help with certifications, yes, as I told, the first 20 classes are enough for you to clear themselves, clear certification by yourself. So yeah, that is pretty much more than enough actually. Most of the people who attended training were able to clear the certification as well. So that's not a problem. What kind of coding language for Velocity? The point of Velocity itself is to avoid the code as much as possible. But yes, Velocity guys take care of coding on their side. For us, it's going to be mostly drag and drop components. So yeah, it will be Apex and LWC, but we'll not do much over there. But yes, at some part where we'll not be able to do everything using code, sorry, configuration, we may have to go for Apex or LWC based on the requirements. That's very rare case. Anyway, how is the general market demand for Velocity? Yes, right now it is pretty good, and yeah, it's going quite well right now. It's like you could add maybe Velocity in your resume and just upload it, and you keep getting calls. That's the demand right now, because many companies, especially telecom, insurance, health domain companies, are trying to switch to Velocity. So that's why. And do we need to know any other domain? No, nope. Velocity, trust me, is the starting point for all of us. And those who don't know any coding or anything, you don't have to learn anything exclusively before attending the training. Trust me, those who have no idea, absolutely no idea about coding, if you just have Salesforce admin knowledge, right? The way Velocity is defined, designed in such a way that all the components that you use in Velocity to build any, page, anything, any kind of site or something, you do it through configuration, but yeah, you can, Velocity takes care of the coding part. So it's like you drag and drop something and everything works together. So you will be able to relate to the code that they have written, although we'll not have access. But yes, it's like, for example, you want to extract something. Usually in Salesforce, we go with an SOQ query. But in case of Velocity, you don't have to write that query. You can configure that query. So eventually, after practicing few times, you will understand how to write the query itself. Like that. Like most of the things, it'll be pretty much clear if you keep on practicing. That's the main point. Right. So yeah, let's get started with the actual part. So that's what, Vasu. I think I've answered most of the questions. And yes, we will continue with the session. And yeah, a few more questions will be answered over there. All right. Right. Let me share my screen. Yep. All right. So first of all, I'm trainer in SV TechSoft, and I'm giving velocity training here with these SV TechSoft guys from almost 1.5, 2 years now. Delivered more than around 9 batches, I think, and uh, anything related to your payment or your course details, anything, you can contact this mobile number through WhatsApp, or can call them, or you can check with them through the email. I'll be the trainer. They'll take care of everything else. Right. Now, let's move on. Right. What exactly is velocity? How did it come into picture? Right. Let's try to understand that first. Right. So in today's agenda is going to be, let's learn what exactly is velocity and how it is working in Salesforce. And every time you get, I mean, or you hear the term called velocity, you always hear something else, which is nothing but industry specific clouds or industry specific domains. What exactly is it? I mean, once velocity came into picture, almost every other software or technology which is relying on cloud started this industry clouds or industry domains. We'll like see what exactly is that, and we'll see what are the advantages of using velocity. There could be a lot of products which are providing same kind of features, but why velocity? And we'll try to understand certain velocity components that are provided, and yeah, few more of those. Right. First of all, to get started, what is we all know what exactly is cloud computing and what Salesforce does there, right? So in every cloud service that is provided by any technology, basically it is divided into three things: IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. Right. IaaS is nothing but it's like the top layer. It's where the whole infrastructure is there. Right. Infrastructure in the sense like servers that are needed, the storage. Like obviously, if you're providing cloud, you need lots and lots of storage that you need to provide to some clients. Right. For example, I am some Reliance Geo, right? I want to store all my users' database, whoever is using Geo. In India, almost 35 crore people are using. So I want to store all of their information. I will use storage. And if it is cloud, the cloud guy has to provide that storage, right? So IaaS is that top layer where we just, these cloud companies are going to provide just the infrastructure that is needed for you to do anything you want. Next layer is going to be PaaS. PaaS is basically, we'll talk more about this in a bit because that's where velocity lies. PaaS is nothing but it's a layer above or a layer next to IaaS. What exactly it does is using the storage or servers or all the infrastructure in the IaaS layer, certain companies build a platform for you to start developing applications. Right? So that is PaaS. We'll get back to this. There's one, one more layer called SaaS, which we all might be aware of, which is nothing but SaaS capability is nothing but software as a service. This is what we generally do in Salesforce until now. If you are already working in Salesforce or any other cloud technology, the SaaS is the one which we all do. That basically indicates that you have, like for example, Salesforce is there. All you need is maybe a system, a laptop or a mobile, and username password. You don't have to install anything, you don't have to maintain anything. Some guys do the development and you can start using the application. So that is your SaaS capability. You provide software as a service, right? So we, as we know that we all have worked in SaaS capability until now in Salesforce, but what PaaS doing here is they introduce one layer between you as the end customer and the developers, which is basically you don't the developer doesn't have to do everything right from the scratch. They create a layer with all the basic needs, or not just the basic needs, certain complex functionalities are provided, right? So these guys, like for example, Viva CRM, you would have heard Tableau, Velocity, these guys use Salesforce as platform, and on top of Salesforce, like they just general things, whatever we use, like we use Salesforce objects, we use Salesforce fields, formula fields, triggers, classes, batch classes, VF pages, lightning components. They also use the same things to pre-build certain applications. When I say pre-built, it basically means that, for example, you go to Amazon site and you apply some promo code. It reduces the amount, right? Whichever technology you are using, whichever UI you are using, applying the promotion means that you are reducing the price, right? The functionality there is same, right? So that's what Velocity guys do. Since it is same, why not predefine it and provide it as a simple feature to the developers, so that they can configure it in a way they want. They don't have to build everything right from the scratch, right? So that's what your Velocity layer is going to do. So that's what is platform as a service, or PaaS. All right. So yeah, we'll understand this a little more deeper as we go ahead. This is just an introduction. All right. So what we have understood now is Velocity provide us another layer for us developers to make our lives easy, right? For developing. Right. So coming back here, so what exactly I said is all these platforms, Velocity, Viva, Tableau, they're all built natively on Salesforce. They use Salesforce features, just like how we develop, some application and provide it to our customers or clients, right? Similarly, these guys also use standard Salesforce features and add some customization and provide certain complex features as predefined in a package, managed package, right? So what Velocity has done is they have divided these kind of managed packages into industries. Why did they have to do it this, and what exactly they have done is basically happened in the last 2 years and how it has affected, because we all have a pretty good idea on it now, right? So in general, maybe in India it works different. You can go to any medical, any medicines, but that's not the usual case, right? You have to sorry, yeah, you have to have a prescription in foreign countries where you have to go meet a doctor, get the prescription and everything. So what these pharma companies do to make sure that their sales go up, like for example, for same COVID, virus, there are so many vaccines that are developed by multiple companies, pharma companies. How do they make sure that their product is more, getting more sales? Is first of all, they go to doctors, they visit the doctors or hospitals because they are the customers of the pharma company. They explain their product, they provide all these how they have built and all these simple things, and they provide some samples to them. Once they like the product, and they'll start prescribing it, and that's how their sales process is going to go up, right? So no matter which technology you're using, no matter what software we are using. This is the functionality or this is the behavior of a entire pharma industry in many countries. The technology may change, the UI that you are using may change, or the software that you may use for certain things are going to be different, but the process is same. The functionality wise, it's same. So that's what Velocity has identified, and it started building certain features specific to a functionality or specific to a you can say domain, and they have created managed packages separately for each of those domains, right? Pharma industry works in a different way, communications industry works in a different way, your insurance is going to work in a different way. For each of them, they all have their own specific business processes to fit that, to make sure that it everything fits, right? They have created certain managed packages according to the requirements of each individual business industry, and we can start directly using that packages once we buy Velocity licenses. And trust me, most part of your projects are already done. At least 70% of the work is done already, because they provide everything through managed package. The reason is basically the business process is never going to change. It's just the maybe the technology is going to change. Maybe the software is going to be changed, right? So something like that, right? So just give me a second. I'll have some water. Yeah, sorry for that. Right. Uh, so that's what. So velocity like this has defined. Just give me a second, guys. Sorry. Yeah, sorry again. Yeah. So like this, Velocity has identified certain industries where they can provide certain business processes that fit the requirement of certain industries. And those industries are right now communications, media entertainment, energy utilities, insurance, health and government. Right. So these industries, Velocity has defined data models, defined certain features, complex features. They basically built a base structure of entire domain, so that when we buy the when a customer comes and says that they want to have an application to be built for their use, the moment you install Velocity, your 70% work is already done. And that's how Velocity is marketing themselves, and that's why Velocity has so much demand right now, right? Right. Any questions or anything so far? All right. Let's move ahead. Right. There are quite a few customers or clients that are already using Velocity. This is a very old slide, almost 1 year old slide. So yeah, so you may see the number quite less compared to what it is right now. So Velocity right now has almost 300 plus, clients across various industries. And under CMT, you would have heard Verizon. CMT is nothing but communications, media, and telecom, right? So you would have heard Verizon, British Telecom, Rogers, Vodafone also started using recently all of these things. And insurance, health, energy utilities, government sector. There are a lot of clients that are already using. So Velocity. So as part of our training, we are going to concentrate on CMT because each industry is very huge. Each industry has quite a lot of complex features that are provided. So it takes forever to understand each of them. And definitely whenever you're going to any interview, they only ask you one particular domain. It's not like your Velocity, you should know everything. It's almost impossible. So we are going to concentrate on CMT and energy utilities. We are going to concentrate on both of these things. Uh, CMT is basically a bigger one. Energy utilities is minor part of that with few details changed. So we are going to cover CMT and energy utilities. All right. So,
Hi,
and
hi. This is Bala. I'm sorry to interrupt.
yes, Bala.
Uh, so so are we going to have because Velocity have CLM, CPQ, and maybe order management, right?
Right,
So
right.
are you going to focus on three specific to domain, or is it just you're going to cover CPQ for telecom and energy and utilities?
Uh, it's going to be like, for example, insurance and health, they do not have CPQ at all. They
Oh
do not
yeah.
have order management at all. So it's like
Okay.
whatever is there as part of CMT, we are going to cover everything, CMT and energy utilities. So
Okay.
that's going
Got
to
it.
be the next thing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
here you could see these are all the features that we are also going to cover as part of CME.
Okay.
Right? We'll get to this part. I will try to
Sure.
understand
Thank
what
you.
all.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you.
Yep. Right. Now, getting back, what exactly is the advantage of using? Just a second. There's one more question. I have 2 years of experience in Sales Cloud platform, Community Cloud. Whether learning velocity give better career opportunities? Yes, of course, because by learning velocity, you are going to gain the domain knowledge more than anything else, and domain knowledge is the one that everyone looks for. If you gain more experience, right? Nobody is going to care. It's like which technology you know or anything. It's like technologies change, domain is not going to change forever. So domain level knowledge, you'll get very extensive knowledge using velocity. That's one thing. And yes, it's definitely helpful. So even if you have any other cloud skills, it is definitely going to help. Right. So getting back, what are the
Hi,
advantages?
quick question. Will
Uh-huh.
you be sharing this recording later?
Yes, we'll be sharing this also, this recording also.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Another thing is it used in anywhere in a financial or banking domain?
Not yet. And right now, I mean, yes, Commonwealth Bank of Australia is using. Some of the banks are using, but they are only using one part of velocity.
Which is that?
There is something called Omni Studio part. Omni Studio
Okay,
is common across all the industries, so they are only using that part.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
No problem. Yeah, sure. And yeah, definitely we'll have the question and answers at the end of the session because it's going to disturb everything, the flow. Right. So, what are the advantages of using velocity? First of all, why velocity? I mean, the same thing is being provided by many many platforms. Why velocity? First of all, velocity, as we discussed just now, it provides industry specific data model, and they are going to use the base structure of Salesforce, right? They are going to use Salesforce data model, and they are going to play around and build few more as per the requirement of each industry around those standard Salesforce objects. For example, in CMT, we are going to deal most everything is related to order line items, which are standard objects of Salesforce. So we are going to use a couple of more objects, standard objects, and velocity would create around, I don't know, hundreds of objects to make sure that business requirements fit. So it's like using Salesforce standard data model. Around that, velocity builds everything else to make sure that the whole data model is properly fit for that business requirement or business flow. All right. And that's the first point. You get data model. And why data model is so important? It's like any project that starts, right from the scratch. At least 3 to 4 months goes in brainstorming and deciding on what kind of data model you need. It's not like you have a requirement, and something changes and you come back and change it. It's not going to be that easy to change the data model. So that's why we take a lot of time to settle the data model first, even before the development starts, so that data model is already pre-built for you, right? Second thing is fast development of web pages for business flows with complex functionalities. which basically means that using Vlocity, as just now I said, Omni Studio components, right? So there is a specific topic called Omni Studio in Vlocity, which we are going to cover in the first 15-20 days of our training. So in Omni Studio, whatever the components that are provided by Vlocity are configurable, 100% configurable components. We are going to configure everything there, and Velocity runs the code for you in the backend. For example, you want to build a web page, which has like, I'll give you some sample. I mean, in this demo, I don't want to show it because it's not a good practice. So I'll tell you, you can go to M1 site, you can go to Verizon site, you can go to Rogers Telecom. They're all already using Velocity. Some some parts of their website, they are using Omni Studio. You can refer those websites, just Google their company names and you can open their websites and you can see, right? So you can build those complex web pages, whatever is required, by just dragging and dropping. It sometimes feels unreal, but yes, that is true. That is how Velocity is working now. And not just the UI part. I mean, UI, yep, you still need the CSS styling that we cannot do anything. Even after working with Velocity, you still have to do your own styling. But the backend part, like for example, on click of a button, you want to redirect to another page, or on click of something, you want to update something in your database, or extract something, or perform some complex logic. All of those business logics can be performed just through configuration in Velocity. All right. So that's another step, another thing. Uh, Next thing, integration. So in Salesforce, even when I joined newly, integration, everyone used to make me feel like integration is one of the toughest thing. You have to learn this, that. Integration is, even if you go to interviews, they used to ask like, do you know integration, as if it's like a separate thing, right? That's not going to be less the same case in Velocity. Integration is one of the very easiest part in Velocity. It's like you just choose which endpoint, what is the parameters that you want to pass, do the authorization. That's it, done. Everything else is taken care in the backend by Velocity. It's like instead of writing an Apex code, you configure everything, and Velocity takes care of running the Apex code for you. So it's going to be pretty much easy in the integration as well. And the next thing is, in Velocity, we are mostly going to use JSON. Velocity recommends you to use JSON, although you can use XML as well. But yep, Velocity highly recommends us to use JSON. And JSON is very easy, faster processing, and lightweight language. We are going to discuss JSON also in our classes. That's the first thing we are going to learn, because everything else in Velocity is dependent on JSON, right? So the reason why JSON is, just imagine the amount of code Velocity is doing for us to transfer the data here and there. If they use some heavy language just to transfer the data, it's going to take forever to load single page. So that's why they prefer JSON, right? So that's another thing. And there are many advantages. It's like you have lot of complex functionalities that are pre-defined, right? Just like I said, the applying promotions, or defining prices, or defining prices based on the, like for example, you buy a mobile phone. When I change from 128 GB to 256 GB of storage, the price also changes automatically, right? When I change some other attribute, the price again changes. So all of this is taken care by Velocity, and you just have to configure it according to your requirement, right? Next thing, what exactly are we going to cover in our uh, thing, and especially what is related to CME? Yep. The first thing is order capture journey. So in any e-commerce platform, not just telecom, not just any other specific one, any e-commerce platform, go, even Amazon, Flipkart, everything, all these, from the time you land into their website as an anonymous user, or an existing customer, till the time you make your payment, that whole process is called as order capture. because we're capturing the information from the customer to create an order in the backend, right? And it needs a lot of data. To create an order, they need your account details, they need your address details, they need the payment related thing, they need the product that you're picking, what configuration you want to choose, if it's a mobile plan, how much data, all these things. So since we are capturing all the information from the customer, it's called as the order capture journey. And as part of order capture journey, a lot of things are already provided by Velocity. And yes, since order capture can be highly customizable thing, because each company would want their website to be built in a different way, right? So we use Omni Studio components to build the entire order capture journey. In the next slide, we are going to cover what exactly is that Omni Studio components, right? Next thing is all the declarative approach components, whatever declarative components is there in provided by Velocity, which is part of again Omni Studio. We are going to cover entirely. Next thing is order management. So once you place an order in any e-commerce site, their job is not done there itself, right? They have to get it delivered to you. So from the time you your order is submitted till the time they deliver it to, or they fulfill that order for the customer, that whole process is called as order management. And Velocity has a well built, most robust and dynamic order management process right now. There are some clients who are coming into Velocity just to use order management part. There are so many third parties which are providing this order management related. Uh, we are going to, I mean, in our Velocity, we have the order management, which is again entirely configurable. And yes, as I said, a lot of customers who don't want to waste their money by switching the entire technology, uh, moving to Velocity, they are so much impressed with order management, they just started using this order management. Then again, there is EPC. To have such a huge e-commerce site, even companies are also nothing but e-commerce sites, right? You go to Geo app, you buy all your products and everything, like mobile plans, SIM cards, everything. Even foreign countries, you can also buy mobile phones, right? So to have such kind of huge setup of products, right, you need some place where you can do all of that. So that's where EPC comes into picture, where all the product database can be created in one single screen with all the possibilities. You can define the prices, you can define the any rules, like for which customers which products needs to be shown, all those things, and a lot of backend setup. All these things you can do it using EPC, right? Then yep, Velocity CPQ, yeah, it again covers the part of pricing related stuff. If you have such kind of complex product setup, you need to have similarly complex pricing. That's where Velocity CPQs comes into picture. Velocity CPQ is not same as Salesforce CPQ. Using Salesforce CPQ, Velocity guys have customized it to make sure that Velocity CPQ is only fit for, it has only components which are useful for CMT and energy utilities domains, right? And then there is your digital commerce and card based APIs. These are very useful. It's like all that what I told, right? Applying promotions or based on whatever attributes you pick, or you go to website, you first add some product and again you come back and you change something, again you go till the payment and come back and add some other product. So in the back end also, lot of things need to be updated in the database. That all that part is going to be done through APIs provided by Velocity. That means we don't have to do anything. It's like, for example, I want to add a promotion. Pass the order ID, pass the promotion. It will take care of applying the offer. For example, I want to delete something in the order, some product in the order. Pass the order ID, pass the product ID. It will take care of deleting it. So it may seem simple, but yeah, it's a complex job when we actually write the code to build an entire functionality. All of that is being provided by Vlocity as APIs. You can simply call their API and pass the required inputs, and it'll take care of everything. Right? And yes, we are going to discuss obviously the CME related data models. Each of these components which we discussed, right? The CPQ, the EPC, order management, everything has a huge data model. We'll discuss all of that. Right. So before moving on, there are a few set of questions on these. Yeah, we are going to provide org access. Nope. Syed has asked org access related question. We can install related managed package. No, we will not be able to install Velocity package in your org. It is not possible. They are very strict about it. So that's why we'll provide one org. We can use all of that. We all can use that. And in case of customization, we should know coding, right? That's the beauty. You don't have to know coding. It's like some places, obviously you need CSS. Not some places. Whatever you try to do, build everything through configuration, you provide the structure, everything. Client is not obviously going to be happy with it because he wants more styling. He wants more, you can say like very dynamic websites, right? So to make them dynamic, you need to have CSS knowledge, and yeah, that is another different thing because most of the projects rely on third parties to do that or separate developers to do that. If you know it, yeah, it's definitely better. But yeah, as a Velocity developer, it's not like you have to know CSS or any sort of that. If you go to an interview with Velocity as in your domain, they're only going to ask you about Velocity components. Yes, are you planning to show any demo on the Velocity? Yeah, not right now, but once we start the classes, as we proceed on, for each topic, we are going to work with a small requirement and we are going to go ahead with that. And there are two questions almost similar. Is this different from Salesforce? And one more pinged. How is Velocity different than Salesforce Financial Cloud and Salesforce Health Cloud? Right. So Salesforce and Velocity is basically Salesforce itself. Using everything that is there in Salesforce, they build things in Salesforce itself. And since they are doing so much efforts to do all of that, you are going to have to pay a little more money than the normal Salesforce license to get this package. And how is this different than financial services and health cloud? First of all, financial services and health cloud, Velocity started working on them so much because of Salesforce started working on them so much because of Velocity. Because Velocity is the first one which brought this industry specific cloud, and they started with all of these. And that's why whatever you find in Velocity health domain, you will also find few things in Salesforce health cloud also. But yeah, there are quite few things different because Velocity has certain exclusive components which are related to Velocity only. So even after acquisition, Salesforce is keeping it like that only. Zeer, you can ask the fee of the course and everything with Kishore. They will take care of all that. Right, yep. If you have any technical questions, let me know. Right. Anyway, we'll proceed. Right. This is the one which we need to discuss. Omni Studio components. Right. So once Salesforce has acquired Velocity, earlier we used to call them as Velocity components. After acquisition happened, Salesforce renamed it as Omni Studio components. Right. It's just a name. In the Omni Studio components, we have two divisions: interaction tools and data tools. Interaction tools are the ones which we use to build UI. Data tools are the ones which we use to build the backend part or the business logic part, right? So in the interaction tools, we have mainly Omniscripts, cards, flex cards. Templates is going to be, deprecated very soon because there is a better version for that. Right. Let's get back to Omniscripts. Omniscripts are basically For example, you go to
Hi, sorry, one quick question. Is templates or the contract documents that we use in CLM process, is that, or
no, this is a
it's
little
something
different
generic?
one. It's a different
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep. Right. For example, this website which you are seeing, M1, which is a Singapore-based client, right? This website, they have built most of it using Omniscript, right? And when I say Omniscript, it is a configurable component, right? Whatever you see here, like for example, there is an image in the backend, you can do that. It's taking a bit of time. Yeah. For example, this you could see, this is a nothing but a text field, which is made as read only. Again, this another text, this is another text. There is something called selectable items, which is a drag and drop. For that, you need to provide some input. It will display the input like this. You can configure it in any way you want it to come. Again, that this is also the same thing. This is another customizable component where the price keeps changing. This is a button which you can drag and drop. So you could see this whole page, this whole website can be built using Omniscript, and mostly it is going to be configuration, except for example, here you have this orange color. There is orange underline here. There is orange highlight here. These things, yeah, obviously you need CSS styling, and that's why I said, even though you have you build everything else, you need the styling part. You cannot do anything over there. You have to have CSS. And as a velocity developer, that is not the expectation. Again, I'm repeating, if you are a velocity developer, you are only a velocity developer. That's all. You need to know only velocity related components, right? So like this, Omniscripts, again, if you go by the definition, it's like you can create interactive guided path to complete a business process. A business process is basically, as I said, you can build an entire website to fulfill the order capture journey, right? For example, you go to Amazon, you pick a product, you go to that categories, you pick some product, then on selecting the product, it launches that product page, which shows more information about that product. You can choose the configuration there, click on proceed to cart or something like that button. That will take you to next. All those screens have lots of information. So you can build all of that using Omniscript through simple configuration. This site is very slow. Actually, no, it's my internet, I guess, because that's not how it is usually. And yeah, it's not because, definitely not because of velocity. You can check many other sites like Rogers, Stellars. I think, yeah, you can take a look at this whole session again. There's one particular slide which I showed, right? Yeah, you can go to all these clients' website. Most of them have these Omniscript components somewhere there over there in their website. You can see it is definitely fast, right? And cards and flex cards. So Omniscript is basically, you want to build a business process. In a business process, you will have a specific business flow, right? For example, in Amazon, you go choose first, pick the category, then pick the product. Once you pick the product, it launches you into the product page, all of that, right? So that is their business flow that they would have defined it. This is how I want, and that is their business flow. You can do all that business flow, build screens, actual UI screens using Omniscripts, and they're all drag and drop components, right? Then comes your cards and flex cards. Cards is an older version, flex cards is a newer version. It's mainly earlier used for agent customer care purpose, right? You'll have customer care agents where, for example, I call the customer care agent, I ask for a lot of details. My customer care agent shouldn't go here and there to get all that information, right? So to give 360-degree view of a customer in one single screen, you can usually use cards, right? But there's an upgraded version of that is which is called as flex cards, which is much more advanced, and they are Velocity has changed the entire framework of how we are going to use in going forward, which right now is going to be very complex to understand because we don't have any velocity knowledge. We'll discuss that in clearly. So flex cards is much more advanced, which makes many more things easier. All right. Then finally, templates. Yes, templates actually earlier in Velocity to add the styling. We used to use Angular JavaScript. After LWC has come, they are not going to recommend to use templates. So templates is the one, which will be deprecated very soon, right? Then the data tools. This is actually very interesting thing, right? Data tools are the ones, whatever you perform, tasks you perform through your for your business logics through Apex code can be built using data tools, right? For example, there is an Apex controller for a visual force page or a lightning component, right? So let's say we have a lightning component where you have to display product information based on the category user has picked, right? So for that lightning component, there should be a controller. You can build both these things, the UI and the backend part, using Omniscript and these data tools, right? Using Omniscript, you can define your screen structure, and using data tools, you can feed the information from backend. That means your Salesforce. So whatever you generally do in your Apex classes, like you extract some information, you execute some logic, you update something back to database, or you want to send emails based on some condition, you want to generate a PDF, you want to do lots and lots of things, all all those things are possible using these data tools. Especially there is one specific component called integration procedures, which you could see, this is the fourth component over here. That is, you can say it's like almost whatever you do in an Apex class can be done using integration procedure. You want to make an API call, or you want to expose something, some data to third party, you want to build an API, do it with an integration procedure. You want to execute some complex logic based on a certain condition, you can go ahead and use the integration procedure. All these data tools are again configurable components. All right, so that's another thing. Right. This is how cards used to look. Like, for example, you can see in one single screen, I can see one customer's information. Like, you can see the person information, address details, previous orders, all the products that he's currently holding, the mobile plans, all these things like that. Right. Yeah. Anyway, that is much better now with the flex cards. We'll discuss all of that in our classes now. So that's about velocity. This is very brief and basic idea, just not to confuse. We have discussed only few things that are part of velocity. So we will be able to take it up a little higher once we start the classes. Right. So if you guys have any questions, anything, you can ask me. So yeah, Syed has pinged that the ARG access you're talking, for how many days you'll get access. We usually get it for 6 months. Right now, the velocity has limited it to 45 days, but yes, we'll extend. I will take care of extending it, and we'll get at least for 6 months. And can we talk about job opening in India? Uh, most of the development of velocity is actually happening in India itself. That's one thing. It's like most of Salesforce developers are there in India itself, and there is a lot of requirement for velocity. Right now, it's like every second telecom is almost using velocity. You wouldn't even have heard the telecom client's name, and they're already using velocity. It's like somewhere in South America, somewhere in Africa, they are also using velocity. So it's very good. The development part is very good. So you can expect a lot of calls. Hmm. How are the job openings for Australia? There are a lot actually. Commonwealth Bank of Australia is using velocity. Tellers, and I think, just a second. I think T-Mobile, Telstra, Telus, all these are from Australia, I guess. So they're all using already, and there are many insurance clients are already using, and in government and public sector also they are using, and yeah, Commonwealth Bank of Australia using Omni Studio. So all that, and how much would it be the license cost if I want to have for myself? Oh yeah, it will be, I think, $60 is more than what we it generally costs for Salesforce. That's, I mean, I'm totally not sure about it because I never had to buy it. Yeah, but yeah, I guess that is it's so. Maybe I'll get onto that detail. I'll try to get that information. Right. Will this course be suitable for someone who does not have much experience in Salesforce? I definitely recommend you to have the Salesforce admin knowledge first, then only come to this training. I don't want to just bluff you by saying you can learn velocity. Just nope. Salesforce admin knowledge is the minimum basic requirement. After that, yep, you can start relating to velocity. What is the demand of Salesforce and velocity in Middle East countries? I haven't seen much of the Middle East countries showing interest in Salesforce and velocity, I guess. I think they're mostly using Cbill, something like that. But yeah, nothing in Middle East countries. I can't assure you anything. Right now, the hotcakes are Europe, Australia, and North America. Even South America also started using now. But Europe, it's like British Telecom started first, and every other telecom industry in Europe is all starting with velocity now. Is this session over? Yeah, yeah, Praveen. We just have had a brief idea of what exactly is velocity. So it is kind of over. If you have any questions, we can cover all that. What about the consulting career for velocity? You can become a domain specific consultant. That's what I can assure you, because there is a lot. I mean, there are a lot of CBEL guys who actually attend this training. I have seen very frequently those guys who do not have much of the Salesforce knowledge, but they are from CBEL. They know many of these topics because it's like in CBEL. That's what one more advantage I missed in Velocity is, if you are using any other technology for order management, you need to rely on third party. For in order management, there are again two things: orchestration and decomposition. Sometimes you may have to depend on third parties for each of them. For product related database, for account related, for everything you had to depend on third parties, and Cbill was just like a medium in between. But Velocity, everything you get in one single platform. So that's one thing. And because of this, you will have complete domain knowledge is what I can say. So yeah, even you are from some other technology, you will have the domain knowledge. You will gain the domain knowledge from here. What are the batch timings, weekend batch possible? You can discuss this with Kishore, because we are going to decide on the batch timings based on the popular opinion. It's going to be mostly 8 to 9 p.m. IS times, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. We'll see if we can modify it, depending on everyone's opinion. We'll see that. Weekend batch right now, yeah, we are not looking for it because we have very less attendance on weekends, because everyone most of the people don't prefer to attend weekend classes. I don't have any Salesforce experience and knowledge. Shall I learn Salesforce Velocity? You can start with uh, Velocity, actually, but in the meantime, it hardly takes like a week or so to get a basic idea of Salesforce admin. When I say Salesforce admin, it's like if we don't understand what are the objects, what are fields, we can't actually work with Salesforce. I mean Velocity. So it's going to be a little tough over there. So that's why I try to get a basic understanding of Salesforce admin part. You have a lot of trailheads, or you can check with Kishore. He can provide you some information there also. All right. What is JSON? Uh, JSON, I am sorry, I don't have full form. I think it's something related to JavaScript object notation something. Yeah, I think that's the full form. But what actually it is, for example, you have most of the clients depend on UI for like on third parties, right? For example, let's say Amazon is there. Their database lies somewhere else. Their UI is in some other, like let's say React.js or something like that. Their database is in, let's say, Azure, right? How do you connect these things? When I click on a button on the UI, how do I connect it to the data that is there in the database? Like for example, I clicked on iPhone 13 product. It launches in the next page where I have all the information related to iPhone 13. That means there is an API call that is being made from front end system to back end system, and that backend system is going to send all this data. How they are going to send it is through JSON or XML or any other data language format. JSON is the most easiest and lightweight language because you can send huge amounts of data in JSON structure, which is very easy for coding languages to pick the exact path they need. So that's why JSON is preferable. All right. So is that clear, Praveen, on JSON? JSON is not coding, it's just a data language. It's like it's basically key value pairs. It's like, what is the key name, ID, what is the value, 1, 2, 3, 4. Account name, Praveen. Like maybe date of birth, so and so, like that. It just sends the data in key value pair. All right. And can you elaborate Omniscripts as well? Yep. Omniscripts is basically configurable UI component that it's like you want to build a UI. Let's take a look at Amazon site itself for better understanding.
So is Omniscripts almost like a flow in Salesforce,
Yes.
or is it totally different?
No, not flow in Salesforce. It's flow is just it's not going to do what Omniscript is going to do. Omniscripts are much more advanced. For
Okay.
example, this is the screen I want to build, right?
Uh-huh.
Here, these are all images that are coming, clickable images, right?
Sorry,
And this
I don't.
is,
Are you sharing your screen?
yeah, I'm sharing my screen.
Okay. Yeah, it just showed up.
Okay. So these are all clickable images, and there is some text over here. There is some details that are coming up, right? So you can build using Omniscript all of these things, right? You can build a web page or UI, whatever you can do using a VF page or a Lightning component or LWC. You can build almost similar thing using a Omniscript. All right. To build your UI flow, you can use Omniscripts. All right. So that's the thing about Omniscripts. And what is API call? We'll try to understand that in the sessions there, because it's going to take forever to talk about that because it's a huge thing. We'll
Sir,
talk more about that. Yeah.
sir,
Yeah. Yes, please.
yes, sir. I am a BBA graduate. Can I? This training is benefit for me also. I don't have any IT background.
You are looking to switch to IT, and if you want to start your career, yeah, Salesforce is definitely the one to go because you have a lot of options in it. And
Then
if you don't have much coding background, yes, I will recommend Vlocity. But yeah, before that, I always recommend you to,
what do you want to do for sales for admin training first?
yes, for Salesforce admin, you can check with Kishore. That's one thing. Or there are actually trial heads available in like just a minute. Just type in Salesforce admin trial heads. You will get.
Admin. Okay.
Okay, you can create an account and you can start with it.
Sir,
It's a basic one.
can
Yeah.
non IT background also can start career with Salesforce?
It totally depends. I am also non-IT background actually. I am a triple E background, but started with Salesforce and I'm very comfortable now. It depends. It's like if we are starting freshly, then yeah, Salesforce is good enough. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Take a look at the Salesforce admin. If you understand things, then yeah, you can go forward in this. All right. Any other questions? Sorry. Can you repeat the question? I'm not sure if someone is speaking. Your voice is very low. You can ping me in the chat. I'll reply.
Is there any coding is required for that?
No. Velocity, no coding. Actually, that's the whole point of Velocity itself. They want to reduce the coding as much as possible. So that's why you won't mostly be needing any coding knowledge. But yes, sometimes it's not like completely eliminated. It will be there sometimes here and there. But yeah, as a Velocity developer, if you are non-coding background also, people will accept it. They just want you to be a Velocity developer. So that is fine.
But coding should be in
If it is coding, then it is going to be uh, Apex coding.
Apex coding.
Apex is Salesforce. In Salesforce, we use Apex generally, and it is basically Java based kind of.
Actually, I am from non-IT background. I don't
Mhm.
know coding or Java, anything.
Yeah.
And how can we survive in that?
That's what. If you can understand Salesforce admin, just try to take a look at maybe for we are going to start the batch maybe next week or after that. So in that time, try to understand Salesforce admin. If you are okay, if you can understand things, then yes, you can definitely go ahead with Velocity because at least 75% to 80% of the times you won't use code in Velocity. There are much more things we can do use configuration. So that is what clients are looking right now. Will we take any
Hi,
project end
hi,
to end
I
use?
this is
Yeah.
hi.
Yeah,
This is
please.
Bala. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I joined a little late. I may know your name.
Yeah. My name is Yashwant.
Okay, Yashwant. One quick questions. So,
Uh-huh.
is there any time in Velocity where you create a uh, custom UII components where if it is not something out of the box?
Yes, there are some situations where, like, let's say we are not able to achieve it through Omniscript, we will go ahead with
Mm-hmm.
the custom UI component.
Okay, custom UI components usually is it all depends on the customer or is it something that we develop either Aura or LWC?
It totally depends on the customer. Right now,
Okay,
everyone is
got it.
preferring LWC. Yeah. And one more thing, if you are looking to learn LWC also, Velocity is the way forward because whatever we build, right, we can see how the LWC code is being generated in the backend. That's the beauty of it. For example, I just don't have any knowledge on LWC and I want to
Mm-hmm.
learn.
Got it.
Let's say I create
Yeah.
a flex card, I drag and drop a text field into that, and I save it.
Mm-hmm.
In the backend, Velocity generates the code for it, and you will be able to see it.
So you'll be able to see the generated code.
Code,
Oh
yeah.
wow,
So you will
that's nice.
understand. Okay, this is the line of code that I have to add. Kind of that.
Got it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested to learn and upgrade my skill, but
Mhm.
see, this timing is a bit difficult for me because I start my day at um, 8 CST and finish my day by 7 p.m.
Mhm.
So, is it
Oh.
something that you have the batch in the mornings, or is it completely ruled out?
We'll see that, Bala. We'll see how we can go forward with that. Just raise the same concern with Kishore also. We'll discuss that.
Sure. Yeah, I'm going to talk to him because something that I really want to learn on my own pace. Maybe if I get time, I want to spend more time, like
Mhm.
couple of hours a day, and I really want to. Yeah, that's I'm thinking to speed up.
Yeah.
Is there any? So do I need to check with Kishore even if there is any weekend batches for long hours or something like that?
Yeah, just try to talk to him. He will get
Sure,
back to
I'll
you
do
with
that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, sure. Thank you so
yeah.
much.
Right. Right. And will we take any project end-to-end use case during training? It's like we are going to take care of multiple requirements based on the type of topic which we are discussing, because it's like each individual topic is has a different way. So we are going to take it up in a smaller projects kind of thing, not like a full project. But yeah, at the end we can relate everything. Whatever we have done in the small parts, we can combine everything and we can see the whole full results. And what all the coding knowledge require, if at all there is a demand, LWC, that is the best forward. As I said, actually those who had no idea, who came from CWL, who had absolutely no idea about Salesforce, also started learning code because of Velocity, because it's like it gives you the whatever you are executing, you can see the code in the back end, so you can relate, okay, this is how you have to write when this thing comes up, so it becomes easier for you. Will we be able to clear Omniscripts LFA? You can to clear it in the first 20 days, after the first 20 days of training itself. So that I can definitely assure you. Which all industries you will cover: energy, utilities, and CMT, communications, media, telecom. Would mean to reduce the fees a bit huge. That I'm totally not part of. You can talk with Kishore. Weekend batch for 2 to 3 hours on Saturday and 2 to 3 hours on Sunday. Such batch will be good. It will definitely be good. I can also not commit at this point of time due to some personal things. Yeah, let's anyway discuss that. You guys can raise these points with Kishore, and I'll talk to him. Like based on the demand, we can see that. All right, and yes, as part of our training, we are going to provide you some exercise guides, some trainings, whatever documentation is necessary for you to, maybe even after the training you want to take up, learn separately. You can definitely go ahead with those things.
Hey, Yashwant, are you going to share all the video, session recordings?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I mean, that's also one thing for some guys who couldn't attend the training. They usually go through the recording videos, and yeah, if needed, for you guys who cannot attend the training and only going through the videos, we can have a separate session on maybe a weekend for 1 hour or so to discuss about the doubts you had for the whole week. Something like we can do something like that. Yeah, just check with raise your concern with Kishore. We'll talk about the timings.
Okay, cool.
Yep, exactly, said. Yeah, sure. We can do something like that. 1.5 to 2 hours in on weekend to discuss any doubts or clarifications. We can definitely do that. All right. Any more questions or anything? And yes, yeah, definitely we can get much better understanding once we start the course. And yeah, there definitely is a lot of opportunity, so you don't have to worry about that. But yes, I sincerely recommend you to have the Salesforce admin knowledge. That is very basic.
Hi, Yaswant, this is Suresh.
Yeah, hi Suresh.
Yeah, Yaswant, actually, I came from CBL background. Okay, but
Okay.
so how will be the different between these order management in CBL and this one Salesforce Velocity? Is it complicated or why? Because in CBL we can do the lot of configuration to display the customer price related to
Mm-hmm.
the product.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any complex compared to CBEL?
From what I heard from the guys who took this training before, who were from CBEL, they told you in some parts velocity is pretty much good, especially in the orchestration and decomposition part.
Okay.
In some parts, yes, velocity could have done some things better. Like particularly when we were discussing about some topics, those guys raised things like, okay, in CBEL this was like this. So I personally felt okay, that would have been much better. But yeah, it's like in one single system, one single platform providing all these things, definitely you'll feel velocity is good enough.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. If no other questions, you can just connect with Kishore if you have any questions or you need any information regarding payment, timings, all these things. We can get, I'll get in touch with him and we'll discuss on the we'll finalize on the batch. All right. Yep. Before closing, if you guys have any doubts, let me know. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and close.
Yeah, and one more thing,
Yeah.
Ashwin,
Yeah.
for integration purpose, is there any coding required
Nope.
to map the from Salesforce to third-party application?
That's the beauty. Again, not at all needed. You don't have to write not even a single line of code to invoke an API of third party or expose your data to third parties.
Okay. Why?
Yeah.
Because in CBEL, it's a big thing to do the integration with the
Right.
other
Yeah.
application.
Right.
We have to do some coding and we have to build some workflows and we have to do the field mappings between the
Right.
source and destination.
Yeah. Even in
So,
Salesforce, before Velocity came into picture, integration was a huge thing,
yes.
completely different thing. But yeah, Velocity, it's all very easy.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, but you always have to define your request response and you map the data, right?
Yeah,
That is
that
something has to be
definitely is
there.
there. That
Yeah,
definitely is there. We will have to map like the expectation from
yeah,
third party. We'll have to build according to that. But yeah, it becomes
sure.
much more easier for us to build and map.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Actually, it's very difficult to track you if you face any error from the third party.
Right.
In normal CBEL, it's very difficult to track what is the exact issue actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
See, Ashwant, I mean, let's say in the typical other languages or tools, at some point, if you run into some issue in and you can debug, right? But in Salesforce, you always deal with just log, and you have to enable log and see, but you cannot stick a debugger, and it's pretty difficult to debug. So is it the same scenario with Velocity? Is there any Velocity out of the box tool where you debug and identify the issues, or is it anything?
It is like Velocity's job here is to just to make sure the development is easier for us. So whatever pretty much is there in Salesforce, it's still the same in Velocity, like debug logs and everything. But there are
Okay.
certain things provided by Velocity, like for any handling any technical errors, like some logic failed and you want to log all that, you can do that separately in Velocity.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, thank you.
Zira asking Salesforce versus data science, which should you suggest for girl jobs? I have no idea on data science. I'm sorry there, but yeah, Salesforce Velocity. I'm not sure if it is there
And
enough. Yeah.
And what is the standard deployment process in Velocity? Is it so? Usually, can we do it? So we can do it through chain sets and or through Workbench with
No,
package.xml, or
Velocity provides a separate component for their all their tools. I mean, sorry,
so you have to
separate
use
tool for
that
all the
tool
components. Yeah.
for deployments.
Yes, there is a separate tool. Using those tools, you can deploy Salesforce components as well.
Okay.
Okay, but
Okay.
to
Okay.
deploy
Got it.
Velocity
Got it.
components, you cannot use any other except the tools provided by Velocity.
Okay. Got it. Let's say, I mean, see, in our environment, we are actually using GitHub
Yeah.
for version control. All right.
Yeah.
and using package.xml, we actually
Mhm.
retrieve the
Yeah.
manifest from org and we just maintain it in GitHub. So
Yeah.
is it something that we in any of your past experiences, are you following this process, or is it
Yes,
just
we
okay?
still follow. It's just that the tool which we use at the end, like to I know push the code to some other org, higher org, is going to be Velocity's tool, like specific tool.
Okay, got it. So
Yeah,
got it. Even
everything,
if
the
we
CI/CD
maintain,
process, everything, yeah, is going to be same.
okay, okay. So even if we maintain the GitHub or Jenkins
Yep.
process, so you, end of the day, you have to use the tool to move the components in Velocity. Is that
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, maybe probably if I see. So are you going to cover these things as part of the training?
Yeah. We'll cover those deployment tools as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you so much.
All right. All right, guys. We'll see you
Thanks,
soon.
Ashwin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not a problem. We'll see you soon. Let me know if you have any questions. You can contact me through Kishore, and yeah, we can discuss if anything is needed.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks everyone for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashwin.
Thank you.